Hello and welcome to Børsen for our second session here for Copenhagen Social Media Week. We are extremely delighted to have Galen from Dell, and it's going to enlighten us on how Dell certifies their employees to act on social media. And I think that's a really great inspiration for a lot of other companies, because I think it's something that's needed in today's modern age. And I really look forward to hearing what you have to say about that. So thank you very much for coming, and very welcome to Galen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So yeah, I work at Dell. I've been with Dell for the last 10 years, and for the last 3.5 I've been working with our social media team at Dell. I've put my Twitter handle up there and the hashtag for the presentation if you want to follow it on Twitter. You can see that my Twitter handle is girl at Dell. We have at Dell when we have an official Dell handle. And I'm Norwegian, and my name is Galen, and they don't have on Twitter, so that's why it's kind of a gorilla-ish thing with that Twitter handle, but that's the only thing about that. So let's jump into it, and you're free to ask questions along the way if you have any. Just raise your hand, and my colleague Julia, who has brought with me from Dell, she will give you the microphone. So we know that there is a lot of conversations happening in social media. And whether you as a company choose to listen or not, people will be talking about your company in social media. We realized that a long time ago in Dell, and that's why we started listening to what people were saying in social media, and we wanted to interact with people there. We started back in 2006 with using social media, and it was actually Michael Dell himself that said that people are out there and they are talking, and we want to interact with them. We want to listen to what people are saying, and we want to talk to them. So since then, we have developed our social media presence, and we now have a presence in many of the social media spaces. We also have our listening center, and I will talk a little bit more about that. But just to give you an overview of our presence there, I'm not going to go in details with all the platforms that we are on. So to start and begin to tell you why we are so active in social media, it actually started with Michael Dell himself, who said that we should be there, and that's a great benefit for us, because that means that we were able to start the social media incorporation in our company from the top down. And we are engaging in 1.5 billion customer conversations each year, and that is globally. The way that we are using social media might be a little bit different than many others. The way we use social media at Dell is that we have a holistic approach to it. What I mean by that is that it's not only corporate communications, it's not only marketing. It's throughout the company, throughout the different departments of the company that are using social media in different ways. We have, of course, marketing using it, but that's not the main purpose of being on social media for us. We have our SOS team, that is the social outreach services, which we have is like customer care and technical support on social media for Dell. We have our own education, that is social media and communities universities. We have our command center, where we listen to conversations around Dell in social media. And many other different areas. And as you can see, the holistic approach that we have, it's only 1.4% of companies that has that. A lot of companies has it founded either in marketing or in corporate communication. So how have we managed to put that into the whole company? The way we do that is that we have it as a part of our overall strategy. The social media initiatives that we do is not something that only one department works with. It is part of our overall strategy to be on social media and to have a presence there. And in order to determine how we want to use that, we wanted to discover why people are using social media. And there are, of course, 143 different reasons for why people are using social media. But what we did was we narrowed it down to the 5 core reasons or main reasons for people using social media. And those are the ones that you can see here, that we found out this is why people are using social media. So what we tried to do then was to take our key value drivers and try to connect them to the needs that the people had for using social media so that we can interact with people in a constructive way on social media. And it starts with listening, because if we want to be in social media and we want to talk with people, we need to see what's going on. We need to listen to what people are saying. And that's why back in 2010, we launched our social media listening command center. What we do in the listening command center is that we listen to conversations in social media. We use a lot of different tools for listening in social media at Dell. And one of the tools that we're using is a tool called Radiance 6. It's a keyword-based search engine, basically, which we can feed in keywords. It crawls the web and pulls back information to us. Everything that is publicly available, it can pull back to us that is related to the keywords that we look for. When we first started listening to conversations, we had around 5,000 each day. Now we listen to approximately 30,000 conversations every day. That is in English only, and in addition, we also listen in 14 other languages across the world. So, of course, we cannot read through all these posts. That would be a very difficult task to have someone read through each and every post. So what we have done with the command center is try to set it up so that we can visualize the conversations rather than having to read through them all. So what we have done is to build different screens. So this is an example of the screen. So up in the top there, you can see the world map. And that will give us an overview of where in the world conversation about a specific topic is happening. The word cloud that you see there can give us a snapshot of what's being said. Because if you have 20,000 posts, it's difficult to see what is the main conversation happening. If you have the word cloud, you can open that up, and it shows you the word based on frequency. So the more frequent the word is being used, the larger it will be. So then it's easy for us to see that, okay, they talk about Dell, what are they talking about in relation to Dell or to a specific product? The influencer screen that you can see in the middle, that shows us who is talking about us. And that is Twitter-based. So the larger the photo of the person that shows up is, the more followers they have on Twitter, so the more influential they are. And that is important for us to know, because if there's someone that is very influential that is talking about us, it's important for us to reach out to that person. It is also sentimented in some languages, so that if they say something positive, they will have a green circle around, and if they say something negative, they will have a red circle around. And that allows our social outreach services to see how to prioritize who to reach out to, because if there's a large photo with a green circle around, this is someone that is an ambassador for our brand that is talking positively about Dell and has a lot of followers, and this is someone that we want to engage with and reach out to. We also use the listening tools for internal listening. That could be related to product launches, to campaigns, to see what's going on, and to have a touch and feel of the social media market, what's being said. So an example of that is the listening reports that we can create. We can listen to campaigns going on, and it's a very useful tool to see if there's something showing up in social media that is not related to Dell. An example I brought here is something that didn't come from Dell, but it was something that was put out in social media, and we were able to see that and to put a stop to that before it went viral. So in order to have this holistic approach and to have the whole company engaged in social media, we figured out that we needed to have some training done. So we started to look at how can we train the company and why do we need to train the company. I brought an example. Yeah, that was the, okay. Yeah, so are your employees prepared? Because if you want to have a social media approach and you want to have your whole company out there, you need to have your workforce prepared to be on social media, was what we thought with the training. And why? One of the main purposes of the training is also to learn the employees that you need to be transparent. The social media is public. Once you put something out there, everybody can see it, and it could be really awkward if you, for example, does not disclose that you work for Dell if you talk about a product that is Dell's. An example I brought to you here is this with an employee at Honda, and didn't really mean anything by it, but he just talked about this car and how great he thought it was, but suddenly it was awkward when he didn't disclose that he worked for that company. So that is also a main thing to have, to be aware of the rules and regulations, because it's actually prohibited to talk about something that you have. If you, for example, if I work for Dell, I have to disclose that I work for Dell if I talk about Dell products in social media or anywhere else. So how did we do this training? So we started out, and we had this great, nice book with our principles. Many pages, nice and shiny. No, this thick, everything was in there. Nobody read it. It was way too advanced because we couldn't just, okay, you want to be on Facebook, hey, read this. And nobody wanted to do that. So we figured out, okay, we have our principles, but we need to narrow it down somehow. We need to make it more easier for people to see, okay, what is it that we need to do to be here? And it needs to be fun, and it needs to be easy, and it needs to be interesting. So what we did was we took the book of principles and we narrowed it down to 5 key aspects that we wanted to have in the training. And of course you can go out and train on using the social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, etc. But everybody knows that. Everybody can read it on, wherever, how to use these platforms. So that's not really that relevant. So what we wanted to include was how we wanted to use social media as a company, and what was important for us, and to make the people that were using social media feel safe when doing so, that it was okay to talk on social media on behalf of Dell. So we narrowed it down to these 5 principles. To protect information. And you think, okay, that's the company information. Yeah, but not only. Of course it is confidential information that we want to have protected as a company, but it's more knowing when to protect others' information, customers' information. Because if you are a company and you are on social media, chances are some customer would reach out and say, hey, my order number is blah, 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 when is my order delivered? And that is actually information that needs to be protected. That's personal information. So it's important that the people that are in the social media sphere know that, okay, you can't write that, so that they inform the customers about information like that as well. To be transparent and disclose associations. Of course, that was what we talked about earlier with the Honda case, that it is important to inform that you work for a company and that you're talking on behalf of that company. To follow the law and to follow the code. When you are signing up for a new social media platform or you are doing something on the internet, you always get that, okay, tick here if you read the terms and conditions. We just tick that and move on. It's super important, actually, when you use social media, not personally, but also as a company, that you actually read through those, because there could be things in there that could prohibit you from using that social media again if you go against the rules for that page. So that is important as well. Be responsible, of course, and last, be nice, have fun, and connect. So our main purpose is to get people out there, to get them using social media, and to get them to interact with our customers and be our brand ambassadors on social media. So we created this training based on those principles, and we created a certification process. So, next. So what we have in the training is that we have we have 3 mandatory classes if you want to be SMAC certified, if you want to be social media and community certified, and to have your certification that you are certified to act on social media on behalf of Dell. You have to go through these trainings. So we have the principles, and this is about how we use it, how we want to be displayed on social media, and what's our purpose with using social media. And then we have the Get Started Smacking to help people get started on using social media. Building brand on SMAC is about our brand, our governance on social media. And then they can choose a platform of choice based on which platform they are using the most. And it's not so much how to use that specific platform. It's more best practices, what works, what doesn't work, and tips and tricks, and what groups are there already, etc. And there are different roles that team players can play in our social media sphere. We, of course, have fans. And that is Dell employees that just likes our Facebook page or, once in a while post something from Dell. We have the cheerleaders who often like the article and to push content that we post. We have the players, that is the SMAC professionals, that are the people that are SMAC certified. And they can handle on social, or they can talk on social media on behalf of Dell. They can interact with our customers. Talk about their areas where they're subject matter experts, etc. And then we have the SMAC spokespeople, those who are allowed to speak. For example, if you were in a room and media came in, if you were the one person that would talk to media, you would be the SMAC spokesperson. And of course, we have the coaches. That is the SMAC, the Social Media and Communities University team that helps people engage, that helps train people, etc. And of course, we have some professionals as well that the only work they do is to be on social media and to interact with our customers. That is the social outreach services, the SOS team. And it was formed back already in 2006. This is what we started with when we started to interact with our customers. And they were then tech support experts that were very knowledgeable about products, about everything. And that has now developed so that we have the social media outreach services in 15 different languages, I think it is now, throughout the world. They address more than 4,000 posts every week. They have a 98% resolution rate. And they have a 50% ranters to ravers conversion. What that means is that, seeing that we are a big company, we are interested to know what people think about us, and we have our NPS score, our Net Promoter Score, where we measure if people are happy about us, if they're not so happy, if they are in between. And the 50% ranters to ravers means that they have a turnaround for people that are not so happy to be really happy about us. So that is a pretty high number. And they listen, they engage, and they react. So they post proactively if they know of something that a lot of people think is difficult or have issues with. They can post proactively so that people can use that information. And they also engage with people. And they're not only engaging if there are issues, they're also engaging if something positive is happening. If somebody writes, oh, I got a new computer, I'm so happy about it, they will reach out and say, oh, I'm glad to hear that. What's your favorite feature, or what color is it, or something, just to interact, to create that connection with our customers. And the latest initiative that they launch is spreading the Dell love. So we have a hashtag called Dell love. And what they do there is they reach out to people with making a small video, just a minute-long video. So when someone posts something about Dell, they can have a video reply to say, I'm so happy you hear that, and just to give that a little bit of extra attention. And it's been very positive. And people retweet and tweet with the hashtag Dell love. So yeah, and I mean also famous people. I'm not actually the age group of boy bands, but I think this is a guy from One Direction who actually wrote to Dell Cares and got a reply back, and you can see there were quite a lot of retweets on that one. Is it from One Direction? Anyone else? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, so for those who are not the specialists that are the social outreach services, we want to help them engage, because sometimes that could be the biggest obstacle. They have the social media and community certification. They know that they are certified to talk on behalf of Dell in social media, but sometimes there's a little bit of, okay, what should I post? What should I write about? What should I do? So in order to help them do that, we have divided them into different groups. We have the listeners that are listening. They are taking insights to the business to see what people are saying, collecting the data. That's typically what we're doing in our social media listening command center. We have the conversationalist, who does a little bit of microblogging on Twitter, engage in conversations, engage in some groups in LinkedIn, and talk on behalf of Dell there. And then, of course, we have the advanced that create videos and blogs and create content to be shared on social media. Another initiative that we started in order to get people up and running and using social media is that we have our internal social media platform that is Salesforce Chatter, and we use that to create groups. So when we first started with the trainings, with the SMAC University trainings, we created this group for questions. Do you have a question? Or? Okay, so we started this group, and in the beginning there was a lot of questions. We were really busy, had to go in there many times a day and answer questions. But after a little while, we could see that, okay, people are starting to interact with each other here. It's starting to be more organic, this group. And now I hardly ever go in there because it's functioning organically. People are answering each other. And it's working just like a social media community should be working. And it's very interesting to see, because in the beginning we were very busy with answering questions there, and now people started answering each other's questions. And it's also great for practice, because this is an internal platform. So that enables people to rehearse and to try, and it's in a safe internal environment. And once they've started there and started answering questions there, it's easier to move out and to start using it in the real social media world that is public and out there. Another initiative that we do in order to help people start engaged in social media is that we send out a daily direction of Dell news. And this is content that is easily shared. It comes out every day to everybody who has opted in for this option. And if you're SMAC certified, you're automatically opted in for this. And it comes with small stories. There are Dell stories, there are business stories in general, and just a lot of different content in one single mail. Easy to share with the buttons under, so that people can get started like that. They won't have to spend time to look for content, to search for something to share, but they can just click it, have a quick look at this mail, click on what they find interesting, and share it like that. And that helps people get engaged without the large effort to begin with. So before we jump into the top 10, I want to ask if any of you have any questions. You need a mic, so Julie will run over to you.
Just when you pause there, first of all, you said this listening command center. What are the balance between eavesdropping and listening?
What the difference is?
No, how are you balancing it? I'm just wondering, when you say listening command center, that means that you just like this. There was a lecture yesterday, and he talked about this Harry Potter cloak. When you walked around and you can eavesdrop. He also said listening, but basically it's eavesdropping. There's nothing wrong with it. What you're doing is probably the best I've seen so far, Social Media Week. This is social media management at an extreme, and it's admirable, very noble what you're doing, and you bring in things as empathy. You're actually concerned about your coworkers. You're doing the right thing. But just what I'm concerned about is that when you say listening command center, I'm just thinking Dell is a very vast company. So what about privacy policy, and how much of this advanced media management in order to control do you embed in your hardware, in your products? We have a laptop, that's a microphone, that's about, what, 6, 7, 8 indicators, GPS, Wi-Fi. How much of the way you think there is also implemented in your products?
Yeah, great questions,
Yeah.
or 3 of them I think I caught
Yeah.
there.
Sorry.
So I'll take them one at a time. First of all, we're not incorporating anything. We are listening on social media where the content is publicly available. When people sign up for a Twitter account or Facebook account, they can choose if they want to have it public or private. If they choose public, it's publicly available and we can see it. But it's a great concern, and I actually had exact the same concern as you when we first started this, especially here in Scandinavia, because people have their private sphere, and sometimes you're a little bit scared to step into that. And that was my main concern when we started to reach out to people here, because I was thinking, okay, we are here in Denmark. I'm from the north of Norway. I'm even more conservative with my private sphere. So I was thinking, how will people react if they write something about Dell in social media, and then suddenly one of us reaches out and say, hey, I saw your message, can I help you? How will that be received? And I was so happy to see that it was positive. We've been doing this for so many years now, and not once in Denmark or Norway or Sweden have we had a negative respond to that. And I must say, I had exactly the same concern, and I was actually surprised to see that, but happily surprised, because people are actually happy, and they are actually aware that what they are posting are publicly available. So they are not shocked or surprised when we reach out to them. And I think as time has progressed, people to some extent also expect to be reached out to when they complain publicly on a platform. They expect someone to reach out to them and help them. But great questions and great concerns.
One last. I just noticed that you had transparency, which is going to be very important in future business. Kind of a transparent management through motivation and collective intelligence. And you're actually the closest one I've ever seen getting to that goal. But I also see, and it's just a minor. I'm just wondering. Because earlier in the slide, you mentioned about your employees. They have this manual. And to me, it also looks like it's more about controlling. There's nothing wrong with that Dell want to control that brand. You're doing very well. But how organic do you want to make it in the future towards the employees? If you see this as an anthill, social media is kind of like an anthill, and when they get off work, they go back to this anthill, and they have to have some, they could practice within this kind of intranet thing. I love it. But in the future, how far will you go? Because I just noticed that you have these 4 thumbnails, and the fans said 110K employees were among your fans, but you didn't mention anything about them. There was just a very large American football stadium, I think it was. But the only one who was allowed on behalf of Dell to speak was the spokesman. I may be, it's just a thought. How far, I admire what you do, I really do. How far will you go to just, in some way, lose control, allow yourself to get vulnerable? Because vulnerability can be a very powerful thing. And let your employees engage. That's it.
Yeah, no, so valid points. And the thing is, I may not have elaborated that enough, but that's the thing. We don't want to control it. We want to help them get dressed for being ready for using social media, because everybody's using social media. And chances are that if you work for a company, your family knows it, your neighbor knows it, and then your neighbor's nephew has a problem with a product that your company sells, and he reaches out to you on Facebook and says, hey, what am I supposed to do with this? And that will happen. And if your employees are not dressed for that, and if they're not ready for that, they don't know how to react. But if they've had the best practice sharing and everything, they know how to react to that. They know, okay, is this something I should answer to? Is this something I don't know enough about? Should I get a hold of this person who handles that part of the business, like that? So, so it's more, yeah. So it's more about helping them get ready for it rather than controlling it, because everybody's using it anyway. So you can't control it, but you can help with letting them know how to handle it. Situation that happens in social media. Any more questions?
Well, I think it's in line of the control thing. How do you deal with the fact that your employees are not just employed by Dell? There are a lot of other things. They might be really, really drunk during the weekends or something like that and post it on Twitter, Facebook, or whatever. How do you sort of handle that dimension?
Yeah, that can happen. And we are all people. So that's just basically how we handle that. We're all people. And what we can do is to tell how we want to use social media and what our purpose is with it. But when, you know, when everything comes out, people are people, and they will be posting on Facebook. But this is proven to be a very good training to just create that awareness about it. And even though we have, I think we have 15,000 that has gone through the certification program, we very rarely see anything that is alerting in social media from our employees. So it is working, and people are responsible when using social media. But of course, that can happen, and if it does, yeah, we'll take it from there. But you know, everybody's people, so. Okay, so let me see how far I got here. Yeah, so.
I actually have two questions. And the first one you kind of answered, because you're 110,000 employees and 15,000 is certified. So about 13, 14% of your employee.
Yeah, and then a lot has gone through the basic training, the principles. I think close to everyone has gone through the principle trainings. But these are the ones that are certified and that are, you know, using social media.
And the process of being certified in Dell, how long from you start until you're being let loose?
Yeah, when we started out with it, it's kind of a funny story, because we knew that we wanted to have this training. And we knew that we wanted to have some people trained, so we started to build this training, and then we asked management, okay, how many people do you want to have trained? And they said, everybody. We said, okay, everybody. It's a pretty large company, pretty global, you know, that's a lot. Okay, but we started. We created a training PowerPoint, and we had sessions where we went through the training in person. Then, in order to scale it out so that we can have it global, we started to train the trainer, so that we had ambassadors in the different regions that could take over this training, share the training material so that they could train in person. And then we started to see, okay, it's difficult because of the time zone. Some people are very busy. There's a lot of executives that don't have time to put 3 days out of their calendar to attend the training. So we started doing it web-based. So we used Adobe, and we used different tools to have it online, sessions online, with a trainer on. And now, within the last year here, we have actually made it completely web-based. So now it is a web training that people can go in, they can sign up for it, and they can take it on their own time. And when we first started, it took a day for each training, but now it's narrowed down, so it's about a couple of hours for each training, and people can take it on their own time and sign up for it and do it whenever they have time on the couch at home or whenever there is free time to do so. So that has developed as well.
And then the last question, the control center, is that for a company with 50 employees or 500 or 5,000 or?
Well, actually, we have a team that is handling the social media listening command center, and we have command centers in different areas. We have one in Austin. We have different places where we have the command center, but we also have like here in Copenhagen, I'm the one handling the social media listening command center, and I don't have a big fancy room with 6 screens and going all techie over there. I just do it from my own computer. So it's the same tool that you can use, and you can use it on your own computer. You don't have to have that big setup, even though it looks
But
nice.
is it a service that I can buy or lease from you guys, or is it only for your internal use?
Well, actually, I was planning on coming to that because it started out as something that we did for ourselves. We had this listening because we wanted to see what people were saying about us. But then, since we have our social media listening command center, we had a lot of customers and people come through there and to see the command center. And they were very, wow, okay, this is great, we want to do that, how can we do that? So that actually developed into a service. And it's not core business in any way, but it's a little bit of an extra service that we now provide for interested customers, and that could be all from setting up the command center until helping with building the internal training for employees, many aspects of it. So yeah, we are providing that as a service now. Yeah, so throughout these years with social media training, we have collected some learnings, and I have brought them for you today to share with you the learnings that we have gotten over the last few years. So yeah, a ground training in strategy and vision for teams' role in social media. That means that if you want to be on social media and if you want to use social media consistent throughout the company, it is a good idea to have it as part of your overall strategy, that you want to use it. Not funded only in marketing or only in corporate communications, but have it as a part of the overall strategy that you want to be on social media in every aspect of your company. Make certification a requirement. That is because, cheesy as it sounds, people love to have a certificate for something. That they are, okay, I did this, I'm certified. And when we first started out, we thought, okay, we're going to have this certification, and we were going to have one of our vice presidents sign that, like, now you're social media and community certified, signed vice president. That's good. So we started out with that, and then after 2 months, she reached out and she said, okay, are we going to continue to do this? Because she was basically spending a lot of time signing those certifications because people are so eager to get that. And it's just psychologically, when you have a diploma or a certification standing on your desk that says, I'm social media and community certified, you actually start to believe, okay, I know how to do this. This is not a problem. I can do this. And people feel more empowered like that. So it's a good idea to have it as a certification. You should make it a goal to have your employees activated, because it doesn't really help much if you spend a lot of time and effort on making the training and having everybody certified and everybody has a nice little blanket on their desk, but nobody's using social media. So you have to have some kind of follow-up afterwards to help them get engaged and start using social media. And you should determine the required information that is must-know to have in the training, because social media is so much. It is so huge, and there are so many platforms, and there are so many aspects of it. I probably know this much about it, compared to all the information that is out there. So it's important to narrow it down so that it is, otherwise it's going to be a 5-year training. So narrow it down to the most important things that you must learn your employees. And if you have a mixed teaching style between lectures, dialogues, exercises, and last but not least, scenarios, it's a great way of learning, because there are so many gray areas. So you can't say, okay, this is social media, this is how you do, and this is how you don't do. That's not possible. It's social media and it's people. So a mix of those trainings are very good to have. And we use scenarios a lot. You mentioned previously, what about someone gets out in the weekend and are drunk and posts on social media? Yeah, if that would happen, we would take that example, ask the employee if that was okay, and then use it in our training. Because we do use scenarios that happen real life as learnings, and we put it into our training. I have a question over there.
What is your success rate with all this information you gather? What are your success rate on actionable UX and precognition.
I'm sorry.
How actionable UX, within, when you check out your website, if you want to get support on a laptop, I still have to do 6 clicks, and I'm no near getting any form of customer service. That's why I'm just saying, all the information you gather, it's really good to see that you do it, and you seem to be in control of it. But how well do you perform on executing on all this information, as in actionable UX? And this is basically advanced web analytics, on a high scale. And it's just because he asked the question that you can actually provide this as a service, but how good is to have a service that will cost, pardon my language, shitload of money, if you can't execute on it? So, I mean, actionable UX, where you can actually take this information you have in order to make things better for the customer. Really added value for the customer. And then see from a company's perspective, if we talk about strategy, precognition. How can you kind of estimate a foresight that this part of the net could be interested in this product, we should blah, blah, blah. These customers we are losing them, and we are losing them to Lenovo. This should not happen. So what should we do? Precognition. Just like, I don't know, you don't want the lamps, but red, yellow, green. So just my question.
Yeah, so our success rate, I think, definitely is the fact that we have a 98% resolution rate on social media, issues occurring and cases appearing in social media being solved, and especially the 50% turnover from demoters to promoters. So I would say definitely that's our success rate. And if you think there are many clicks to get help on our site, you can always click the chat function, and you will have someone to chat with right away. No, okay. Yeah, no, but that's our major success measures. That's the turnover on the NPS score, and from demoters to promoters, and also the resolution rate that people are feeling that their issue is solved. Because it's about building customer relationships, showing that we have a presence there, and every time somebody shares the hashtag with Dell Love, it's a success for us.
How much do you use? Sorry. The information you have again on precognition, actionable UX. How do you use the information if you listen or eavesdrop? Doesn't matter. But you're listening to conversations of your potential customers or veteran customers, long-time customers, just regular customers. How do you use this information? Do you actually move on it? If you said text mapping, that's very interesting, because then you have something getting highlighted. Do you use this information, and actually what is highlighted the most, you actually read? You really read and say, here we actually have something, this is a great idea. Let's, the next time we launch another laptop, we can enhance it with this and that.
Yeah, we definitely do. We also have an initiative that was on the overview that is called Idea Storm. And this is a forum where all customers are welcome to post their ideas. And we've had a tremendous amount of ideas being posted there. And I think it's about 5,000, Julia, is it? Ideas that came directly from customers that has been implemented in our business. So yeah, we definitely use the feedback. We absolutely do. And when I talked about having the visuals to create the overview, that's more of the overview. And then we have dedicated teams that dig deeper into the data to see what's actually going on. So we absolutely use it as feedback, and it's very valuable for us. Yeah, we learn a lot from it, definitely. Okay. Okay, so in the interest of time, I think we're going to jump into the next of my top 10 here. Yeah, as I said, launch training ambassadors for the global scale. If you're a large company, to have everybody involved, it's great to train the trainer and to have more people advocate your training throughout. And we launched it in person to be the social face and to address questions. I think that was an important thing as well, because when we first launched it, it was something new, the social media training, and it was great for people to have a face to put on, and okay, that's the person with the social media training. He or she knows about that, we can go to her. And we also continue to do that when we have it on the web, and we have contact names so that people can reach out to directly to have a person to get a hold of if they need something, if they have a question. So it's not like the training is done, my door's closed, bye. It's open so that people can come and interact and ask if they have questions. It also helps get people engaged. And yeah, evolve your training curriculum to involve real-time mistakes. As we talked about previously, it's very valuable to see because that's something people can relate to. Oh, this is something that actually can happen. How do we handle that? Yeah, there's a lot of tools when you want to continue the conversation. We talked a little bit about how we use the chatter groups and also, videos and Adobe Connect. And identify and reward the small, courageous steps. For a lot of people, there's a big obstacle to get started, to get out there on social media. One thing is to use Facebook for your friends and family. Another thing is to actually talk on behalf of your company. A lot of people find that scary. So when they do, encourage that and praise them for doing so, because they are not only promoting themselves, they are helping your company with their presence on social media. I just wanted to show you a little bit of a reference case because I simply just think this is such a great story, because now we've talked a lot about how we use social media and how we use it to monitor conversation and to listen to what people are saying, but it can also be used in a different aspect, and we have experienced that with the American Red Cross. We actually had the American Red Cross come by our social media listening command center, and they were thinking, okay, this is useful, how can we use that? So the American Red Cross is now using the social media listening command center that we helped them set up, and they are using it in a totally different way, because they have, seeing it's the American Red Cross, they don't have the world map like we do, they have the America's map. And the way they use it is that if something should occur, like flooding or power out or whatever small disasters or big can happen, they use it to see, okay, over here, people don't have water, over here, they're missing electricity, over here. Previously, they had to send someone out to take an estimate of the situation, okay, what's going on, come back, report back to see what was going on, and then send someone out to help it. Now they can actually see real time what is going on, and they can help a lot faster, and they can also do a lot by talking with people, because sometimes people are scared, they don't know what's going on, they don't have any power, it's a lot of snow, or it's windy, or something's going on. And by being able to have a conversation going in social media, on Twitter, or with the American Red Cross, that can help calm them down and to keep, okay, we are aware of this is happening, we are here to help you. So I just think that is a very great story on how social media can be useful in a totally different way. So yeah, customer-connected employees are your company's rock stars. They are, because they help strengthen your brand in social media, and they help broaden your presence in the social media sphere and ultimately help your brand. So yeah, we do have time for questions, if you have any.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Just a quick question. As far as what you've been talking about today, a lot of it's concerned with how you monitor people and how you empower people to go out there and be active on social media. I'm looking at it more from a sort of marketing and advertising point of view than customer services. But it seems to be the case, particularly in the UK, where I come from, that customer services is becoming the rock star of marketing in many ways. If you think about Sainsbury's, where there's the fish tweets, where the people at Sainsbury's are empowered to go in and actually write extremely funny comments back to clients or customers and get them into a dialogue in that way, which then thereafter they go totally viral with millions of views and so on. How do you strike the line there between what is serious business and what an employee is allowed to say, and empower them at the same time to maybe push the boundaries a little bit and to go into something which might spread and be something more viral rather than just quite a dry customer support, customer service response?
Yeah, we don't control that. What we try to do with our social media training is to just talk about best practices, what is working, what's not working, and then we trust people to have common sense when they use social media. And basically, one of our main messages in the training is, would you go out in the biggest shopping mall, stand out there and yell something? it's the same in the social media. It's public. People can see you. People can hear you. But we just trust people to have common sense, and they do. So that's actually working out really well when we have the best practice sharing and trainings that we have.
Do you also actually encourage them to see what they're doing as more than, I know you're saying that you have the customer service and they can, you empower them to do things, but do you actually try and push them to go out and be perhaps a little bit more amusing or off the cuff or anything like that? Or it's just completely up to the individual. You don't. I mean, there are some companies in the UK who have copywriters who sit and respond to tweets for them. That's nothing that you do.
No, actually we don't. Actually, we are very aware of that. We want our presence in social media to be consistent with our overall brand. So one of the things that we encourage in the training is not to use too many lingos, too many shortenings, too many smiley faces, and we want to have our social media presence be in line with our overall brand. So no, we don't encourage that, but we do encourage people to bring their personality when they are using social media, because these are people, and that's also one of the reasons why I have my name in my Twitter handle, because we don't want to have just at Dell or only Dell. Of course, we have those channels as well, but we want to show the people behind the company. So personal stuff is fine as well. We have a lot of bloggers that write on behalf of Dell and our Dell employees, and sometimes they write about a good book they've read, or they write about a good meal they made, or so personality is definitely a part of it. Yeah. Okay, there's a link there if you want to give me some feedback to make me improve my next presentation. So thank you for coming.